for things. I want this to be able to proceed. And then I'm just going to give it some stuff. I'll say Supabase, I don't know, secret key. Just going to give it to it. And I'll also give it my Supabase public key. Why am I doing all this? Because I know it's going to need this information in order to move forward. Now in Stripe, I'm going to go over to one of my accounts and then I'll go test mode, create sandbox. What this will do is this will give me like a little sandbox version of Stripe that I could use with its own API keys and everything like that. This way I can basically process the payments and stuff like that using this test. So here it is right now. And then if I want to get my API keys, I have them both over here. So I'm just going to copy the publisher key. I said I want you to take payments during using Stripe, basically, which is why it's doing this. Let's go public. And then over here, I'll go private key. Cool. And so now I basically loaded it up with what I think is everything that it'll need in order to actually go and connect. So I'm just going to press enter here. In case you guys didn't know, when you press enter, what you do is you basically queue up another message. So when this is done with all of its tasks, it'll now have access to all of my keys and stuff. So now that it's done that task, it's going to create all the files and it's just adding all of the information and stuff like that. Looks like we have the Supabase anon key. I think that might be something else that we need. So I'm going to have to find that information out. It'll ask me to do this in a moment, so it's not that big of a deal. This is here, it just got my API key, so it's going to update the env file. And then at the end of this, it's probably just going to ask me like, hey, can you also include X, Y, and Z? Now I could have, of course, just asked this thing to start building for me. I could have just given it all the specs and said, go for it. But the planning that I did not only improves the probability that it'll be able to do this on a quote unquote one shot, but it also improves the token efficiency because it's not going to be exploring 10 different approaches at the time of building. Instead, it has like a document it can refer to. And that's kind of interesting, but human beings sort of do better that way too, right? Like if they're in a business and then you give them an SOP, standard operating procedure, or you give them a checklist or something, or you give them a simple 3-step rule they always have to accommodate, they're much, much more likely to actually use those rules. So AI is the exact same, at least as of the time of this recording. And if you give it like a scratch pad, like a to-do list, like a checklist, usually quality improves significantly compared to if you just have it try and YOLO stuff. Really showing my age with that quote. So this isn't at all related to the course, but check this out. This is a cool salmon marinade that I just made that I'm about to cook while Claude 4.6 was doing all the work for me. So oftentimes during the protracted building of a plan, I'll just step out and I'll do some meal prep, or I don't know, sometimes if it's really long, I'll go hit the gym. And by the time that I'm back, okay, this thing is either still working or it's just wrapping up its completion. I think right now we're 6 or 7 minutes in. But what's really cool is you can parallelize your work. So obviously this is all about being productive, but there is also sort of like a time management component to this as well. Like after you do a plan, and we're building a real big full stack app here. This is not a trivial enterprise. After we do that, we're going to have to wait a few minutes. So, you can just set this aside. The value that this thing is going to get just having me just watch it is quite low. You can absolutely just set this aside, let it continue the building, and then come back either when it's done or when you hear that little hook chime go off, which is personally what I use to make sure I'm always in the loop. Anyway, I'm going to go marinate the salmon, and when I come back, this app should be done. Okay, so 3 or 4 minutes later, I just got back and I see that it is now good to go. It's just asking me for a few things. Supabase project URL, which I'll find, my Anthropic API key. I need to run an SQL migration, give it a Stripe webhook, then ultimately deploy to Netlify. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on testing all this stuff locally, and then I'm going to give it access to all this information. And then after I'm done, I'll do the pushing and the deploying, and I'll run you guys through what that looks like. Keep in mind, you don't need to have any computer programming experience to do this. I mean, I didn't really give it anything that was programming specific. I just gave it a bunch of needs. And while of course it went through and did a bunch of things that were most definitely programming, I wasn't really a part of that, which is quite valuable. So I'm going to go find this information. I saw your next public Supabase URL and then my Anthropic API key. Okay, so I see it says reference using APIs and URLs, this project ID. So I imagine that's probably that. I'll say project ID for Supabase is here. And then Anthropic key, I'll just sign into Claude real quick and grab. Okay, so then I'm going to grab this. And then over here, I'm just going to call it proposal generator app. And it's then going to give me a key that I could use to copy. And no, you can't steal this from me because I will have deleted it right after this. Nice try, folks. You'd be surprised at how many YouTubers don't, which is hilarious. Like half of the YouTube API keys that you see still work 6 months later. Be careful, fellow YouTubers. Run the SQL migration is next. So paste the contents of this thing into your Supabase SQL editor. So I guess I need to do that myself. So I'm just going to grab this, copy all this, and then what? Supabase SQL editor and execute it. Okay, while I'm doing that, I'm just going to give it this. And then where do I get that? Supabase SQL editor. Okay, there's one right over here. That looks like it. No clue what the heck I'm doing. I'm going to click run. Success, no rows returned. Awesome. I think that's what's supposed to happen. Anyway, we'll see. It'll tell me if there are any issues. Stripe webhook, register this in the Stripe dashboard and put the whatever secret in env various. I don't know what that means, and I honestly don't think I need to do that. So I'm just going to ask, okay, let's test this puppy locally. Okay, so it's giving me the information. It's also saying that the local host thing is ready to go. So I'm actually just going to open this up, paste this in, and see. Cool, I got it. So it says I'm going to have to confirm my email. So I don't really like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll say, looks good. If the user email isn't confirmed, don't give it to them in a red error message. That's kind of unfriendly. Just tell them to check their email after their initial sign up, because right now there's no notification with that. And then basically I'm just going to like work through this step by step, page by page. Okay, and the first thing I'm getting is I check my email inbox. I'm not seeing an email, so I'm just going to give it a message telling it, hey, first of all, let them know that they need to confirm their email. Second of all, actually make sure that the email is being confirmed because I'm not getting it upon the sign-in. Okay, and then it gave me the ability to turn off the toggle email, so I'm just going to save that. So we now no longer need to confirm the email, and I'm going to go back here. Okay, cool, and it looks like I'm now into the dashboard. Bottom left-hand corner, we have what looks to be, I don't know, some Next.js stuff, I think. I'm not really sure what this is. Might just be like some developer stuff. On the top right-hand corner, it looks like we can sign out. So let me just try signing out. Cool, and now in the middle, we can create a new proposal. Just says proposals up here, so click Create New. Now there's a bunch of information. I like this, so why don't I just go my own information. I wonder if I just generate proposal, if that's going to work. Let's just do 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. Okay, and then AI-powered sales pipeline. I actually like this, so why don't we do that? The client needs an automated lead generation system that integrates with their existing CRM. They currently spend 20 hours a week on manual outreach and want to reduce this to under 5 hours while increasing qualified leads by 3x. Right now, they want to get to 100K a month. Let's do that. Okay, now for the money shot, let's generate proposal. Click on the button. Don't know what's going on. No clue whether this is working. Generally speaking, when you see a little bar like this with a little circular thing, like this is pretty poor in terms of like user experience because I just don't know if it's working or not. I'm not really sure. It'd be nice if there could be some sort of progress, some way that I could see the thing actually being generated. Or upon clicking this, it'd be nice if I went to a new page. So I think I'm probably going to do that. Hey, I'm not sure if the proposal has been generated. It's been 10 or 15 seconds right now. Could we do some additional user feedback after they click the generate proposal button? Some sort of status, some sort of update. Basically, there just needs to be some way that I know that the proposal is actually being generated, not just hanging all day. Okay, it did end up generating the proposal after a while. It looks very clean, but still, I want you to do this. Okay, so I'm just going to feed that in here. I'm really liking this. I mean, look at the logo even. That's very sexy. Using the same font, nice, confidential. Oof, this is so sexy. Look at that, huh? Wow, I just built a proposal for this. What I'm going to do now is just give it some more feedback. I don't like how the text immediately under your problem areas is really constrained width-wise. You should make that a little longer, maybe 2 times as wide. In each of the sub benefits underneath 01, 02, 03, 04, it's a little too wide now. So make that maybe 75% as wide. Do the same thing with the text under your solution. Under Why Us looks great. I want to have that image of myself, Alex Hormozy, and Sam Ovens in there somewhere. So find a way to include the image in a high quality manner. There's some minor spacing problems with the we've done this before, we focus on money, and we don't treat AI as a fad. They're not perfectly lined up to the numbers 1, 2, 3 on the left-hand side. Add some images of myself and Noah. The what you're investing looks pretty clean. But in general, there's a bit of a discord between everything being left aligned and then the service agreement being in white at in the middle. Find a way to fix that. Okay, and now there's one more thing I want to do. I just want to verify this works. Okay, and now I'm just going to click sign and pay, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, cool. Looks like we're here in the example sandbox. That's awesome. I'm just going to pump in some payment information here. Cool. Looks like the payment went through, and then we also have this wonderful payment received button. You can close this window. That's awesome. Okay, great. So let's just adjust that final bit. Excellent. Everything worked great. On the final page where you do the confetti, make the confetti last a little bit shorter. The ones on the left and the right were a little long. And then change "will be in touch shortly" to "get started" to "you'll receive an email with more details and a link to book a kickoff call." Actually, screw that. Let's just give them a direct calendar link to book a kickoff call. Why not? That's way easier and way faster. Okay. So I'm just going to give it my own calendar. I'll just give it an example here, and then boom, I'll just have it go off again. So, I mean, this looks really clean so far. I guess there's one more thing I have to check. I have to check and see if we can see the proposals listed. Okay, so yeah, we can. So can I click on this? Can we go right back to the page? Nice. Now, can I just open this up in some new tab that's not logged in? Nice. So the /p must be /public. That's really clean. So, I mean, I like this. I mean, we did this in just a few minutes. Honestly, very sexy. As you guys could see, I did very little work. And yeah, I just need to find a way to basically standardize the spacing and the width. Like I don't like how this one over here is on the left-hand side, and then this stuff stretches all the way out to the right. But this is just a minor design thing, and we can absolutely significantly upgrade this. God, we even have the signature here, which looks so cool. I love how that you can now build your own apps, right? Like you don't actually have to go to like a big developer or pay out the ass for some big platform. You can just like one-shot an app like this with good enough Claude Code skills. Okay, and it's gone through and it's updated the widths and stuff like that. That looks pretty clean. Now I'm just going to go give it some images, and then it should be good. We're going to add them to public/images, apparently. Nice, looking pretty clean if I do say so myself. Don't know what the hell I was doing with cuffing my pants like that, but what are you going to do? Just looking at what it changed, it made this a little bit wider, but then it made this much, much smaller. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to enforce like the same width across the entire page. That probably makes the most sense. Why don't we just like constrain it so it'll be like here? I don't know, like here or something. That way it'll be somewhere in the middle. I'm just going to take a screenshot of this. Hey, this looks good, but I'm finding it a little too wide at the moment. I believe we should just constrain it and do a bunch of padding on the left and the right. I sent you a screenshot of a quick example. Now, I guess we didn't actually do the screenshot, huh? Because, I mean, it's good because it's like mobile optimized and stuff, but obviously, you know, on my actual desktop, there's just so much white space. Let's just center everything, make it scrollable, and then I'm just going to, yeah, I'm not really sure why. I couldn't take a screenshot of those, but whatever. That looks good to me. Boom, just fed that in, and we should be pretty good to go, I think. Holy, that salmon's good. I am definitely doing that again. Anyway, I gave it some more time, and it's since centered most of this, I want to say. Looks pretty clean, all things considered. You know, we're doing some cutting off of faces and whatnot, but it's not that bad. And yeah, honestly, this is very similar to like the quality of a Panda doc. I guess the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to say stretch the strategy bit all the way to the end. That probably makes the most sense. Stretch this bit all the way to the bounding boxes of the container, i.e. the white box should go all the way. Okay, here's one more thing that I think this is a good opportunity to talk about. A lot of the time, this will tell you to do things like create a GitHub repo, push the code, etc. Just ask the agent to do it. Most of the time, it can actually do what it is that it's asking you to do. If it can't, you know, let it try, and then it'll tell you absolutely, hey, can you do all this for me? And then it'll just tell you what parts it can do and which parts it can't. Okay, taking a peek here. It's telling me to go deploy the project. So go here, add new site, import an existing project. I can do that. Select. We need to build settings. Should autofill, confirm, and click deploy. Proposal generato is available. That's funny. This is like the universal domain name here, right? Like anybody will be able to access this. I'll put an A at the end because I think it's funny. Okay, automatically detected. Next, what else? Confirm, click deploy. Okay, so go to site settings.